Welcome, welcome. It was a happy holiday today. Hope you all had a happy holiday. The only thing I don't like about holidays, and y'all gotta remember this, is because it slows down our shipments. I know that's very narcissistic of me. But the problem is that it doesn't just, you would think, okay, the post office is closed today, so it'll delay everything one day. But it doesn't. Everything, I guess, at the post office just piles up and it delays it like 2 or 3 days. So be patient with orders at the end of last week, this week, just be patient. We're shipping them just as fast. Just, that good old post office had to take a day off. So it's all good. Happy Columbus Day is what it is today. And I didn't realize it was Columbus Day until this morning. I forgot. But it was sure a nice remembrance. All right, so boy, are we going to have fun tonight. We are going to deal with 196. I have shopped myself silly. Absolutely shopped myself silly. Because if you think about all the places I've been lately, there is some great shopping. So in Miami Beach, if you ever get a chance, Bal Harbour shops. Had to kind of sneak a little peek into Bal Harbour shops. A few little things about Bal Harbour shops. Bal Harbour, B-A-L, harbor, like a harbor, Bal Harbour shops. They're on Miami Beach. You have to pay for parking. That's a sign that it's expensive. You have to pay for parking. There's no free parking for this mall. Everything's paid parking. I mean, obviously, probably because it's Miami Beach, but you have to pay for parking. If you buy a bottle of water that cost me $5, then you get your parking reduced. So this was a very expensive venture for me. So Bal Harbour Shops has Saks on one end, Neiman's on the other end, and everything spectacular in between. So I could just not get enough ideas. It was just really, really fun. And there's other places I've been as well, but that was probably my favorite. But anyway, so we're going to talk ideas. We've got lots of ideas for you for 196. And I know lots of you have the pattern. The PoM of the month will go out tomorrow. So all of those members will have it. And the goal is, I think this is such a basic that it's just hard not to have. Okay? The base on this is 195. There's not a lot of fitting to it. The only thing I think you'd really worry about is the shoulder angle. And then if your arms need to be switched out, bigger sleeve, bigger armhole, smaller body, kind of mix and match all those things. You guys know how to do that. You can. And so I really went for ideas as to what you could do with it. However, having said that, I do want to show you something that is happening with a one-piece sleeve. And you all know knits, I've always said for the longest time, knits are a one-piece sleeve, knits are a one-piece. Don't worry about trying to angle them. They twist, kind of get used to it. That's just what they do. But you know what they're doing? They're doing a lot of Pontoroma knits. And Pontoroma knits, what we know, are a little firmer knit. And so when they do a one-piece sleeve, because it's a knit sleeve with a Pontoroma, it doesn't look as good as the price of many of these garments. So many of these dresses are $2, $3, $4, $5 up, $100. And to have a sleeve that doesn't look as good as it could, I've been wondering about that. Well, sure enough, Diane von Furstenberg, this is where I saw it. I'm sure there's others who are doing it. Is putting a dart into a one-piece knit sleeve. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And the reason you do it is so that the sleeve bends, just like our arm bends, and it looks better. Like in the fabric I have on, it's too loose of weave. I would not even come close. Your dart will have no effect at all. But in this particular fabric, this is a Rebecca Taylor, and it's a little firm. That would be nice to have it in something like that. You'll be the judge. You'll know when to decide. You'll know what to do and why. You'll figure it out. But I want to show you how to do it from the pattern. So the first thing you want to do is locate the elbow. And you can kind of fold the pattern in half and the elbow is going to be right there. Traditionally, that's, it's kind of halfway. If you take your wrist and put it to your arm, the elbow is halfway. So that's just a way to locate the elbow. the we're doing the pattern making class right now, and for you pattern maker class people, we have not gotten to sleeves. I'll get to this, we just haven't gotten to this, but for everybody, this is the way that I will teach it on there. So you want to dart at the elbow. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a cut where you want the dart to be. And you're going to go in about 5 inches. Make sure that's about 5 inches. It's about 4 inches. That dart's only 4 inches long. It may not even be that long. It's just a little tiny dart, but it makes a big difference. I'm going to show you why. And then you're going to go to the bottom, and you're going to cut up to the end of where you cut, and you're going to close up the bottom, and you're going to open up that dart. The dart is the size of the bend of your elbow, so I can't give you an exact size, but if you do that dart about a 1 inch, that will probably do it for you. You'll have to try that. Again, it's like darts. Darts are, change with fitting. Now, I've made the hem smaller. If you need that hem to be the same size again, I'm going to turn it upside down because I don't have tape and I can hold on to it. You could just draw it out and bring it back here. So if you took away 2 inches, you can bring it back out 2 inches, and you can bring it to the end of the dart, and that will give you, what you see is you get a shaped sleeve, a shaped one-piece sleeve. So you have to look really close on this, because there was a dress on a mannequin, and mannequins have bent arms all the time, so I don't really even look, but this mannequin's arm was really straight and the sleeve was really straight, and I thought, okay, it cannot be that straight. Something's going on. And sure enough, I peeked around and kind of crawled through the foliage that they had behind it, and it was a print, and there was a dart. There was a little dart in that dress. So just when you are dealing with a firmer fabric, I just kind of wanted to show all this to you. That's what you do. Cut, close, open, and then if it's too small circumference, you can always fix that. Okay, so now let's start playing. So any of these knit sleeves, if you feel like it's a little heavier fabric and you want that sleeve to bend, then you could put those dart in it. And if you're going to do that, I would just make a whole copy of it rather than changing it every time, because I would think you'd use it quite often. Okay, so we're going to start with a vest, and we're going to greetings from Wales. Well, holy coly, how you doing? It's got to be 6 in the morning or something, isn't it? Have you just getting up, or you been up all night working? Maybe you're sewing all night. It is a small world when it comes to sewing, ladies. Is that true? I mean, literally, I know a little while ago I talked about, we were shipping to Australia. We're shipping so many countries now. It's really incredible. Norway, Italy, I don't know. It just goes on and on. It's really fun because, we just want to like what we sew, and we want it to fit. That's what we want. We're not asking a lot. We just want this stupid pattern to fit, and we want to understand what we're doing. And we are so happy to help you with that. We just love, love, love what we're doing. So thank you all. I have an issue with sewing stretchy knits. Any advice on preventing the dreaded hem bunching? Yeah, you're not going to like my answer, though. You want to buy that Sew Steady table. Because when you guys are sewing on knits, and if they're really stretchy, you are stretching them. And you may not know it, you don't know it, but they're stretching. So you got to keep it on the table, and you got to rotate the knit around, and it needs support. I mean, you don't need the table, but you got to have something flat. And that's what that table does, is it's nice and big and flat. And they are fabulous. They really are fabulous. I think of all the little, if I call them gimmicks that I use, that one is the best. Okay. When you make the dart on the sleeves, do you make the dart on the back seam? Yeah, the dart's on the back of the sleeve. Yes. Yep. Okay.
You actually sew the dart.
You actually sew the dart. Yes, you do. So good question, because I know a lot of times I put darts in patterns. That was a very good question. I appreciate you saying that. You actually sew the dart. So that's the whole reason why you actually have to pivot that dart to open up, because you can't just sew a dart in there. If you sewed a dart in there, then the seams would not match because they match in the first place. So that's why you're going to have to pivot this to open this so that once the dart is stitched, the seams will equal each other again. Yes. Good job, guys. Good job. Does it matter which side of the sleeve you make the dart? Yes, the back. Well, no, because the sleeve, as we do it in this pattern, the front and the back are the same. But if it in the back, it's no longer reversible, so you just got to make sure you do it on the same side twice, if that makes sense. Or the opposite side, but you know what I'm saying, okay? Okay, very good. All right, so let's show you all my tricks I did this week. Actually, last week. I did them last week, but I really had fun. I mean, I'm telling you, pushing your imagination and pushing your creativity and shopping for ideas, it's just a really, really fun part of sewing. So we're just going to pass those along to you all, and hopefully you'll have as much fun as I did. So I started with, I mean, obviously it's a knit. I started with, I wanted it to be a woven pattern. So I picked this fabric. I'm absolutely been in love with this fabric for forever. It is called, it's a brocade from France. I know that. Oh, here's my little cheat sheet. Thank you, Brett. Shoot, it's fabric number 1059. Can you tell me the name of it? I don't know the name of it. 1059. It's just beautiful. I mean, on the website, it doesn't even look as close to how pretty it really is. It's got a little bit of shimmer in it. It's got 1059 is the fabric I'm looking for. Anyway, it's this back here. I'm going to pull this close so that we can see it a little bit. All right, and so what I did is I literally just made a front and a back out of it. But I changed it, so I want to show you how I changed it, but very easy to do. Okay, it's called Variegated Quilton. It's a cotton acrylic brocade, and it's from France. Thank you. All right, so wine, red, those colors are like the most popular colors for this fall. So this is right in line with what's popular right now. And there are a lot of times when I buy fabrics, because I buy them so quickly from the designers, they're actually the next season. So we actually buy fabrics that are pretty close ahead, and upcoming almost is even what's current, if that's fair. So what I did with this is just made the front and the back. I didn't make or cut the pattern any different. There was no pattern changes. I just did the front and the back. That's all I did. All right, then I made it. And so you can see it's got a little asymmetric. These are little leather buttons here. I don't know if you can see that. Those three little leather buttons right there. So what I did is, instead of, there's 4 different ways, this is called the Way Cardi. So there's 4 different ways you can wear this cardigan. What I did is I made a 5th way. So I just lapped it and I put little buttons and buttonholes. These are little leather buttons. This is so beautiful up close. And so you can just undo this. Now what I did with this side is, so that it wouldn't hang down, all you do is wrap it. That's all you do. So that it wouldn't hang down though, I cut it off. You don't have to cut it off until it's completely finished. So here's the little piece that I cut off, and I'm going to show you on the front. That's how much it is. So if you go up, it's like 6 inches this way and about 4 inches this way, but you don't have to cut it off until you're completely done. So you can just go through, cut the whole thing exactly the same, and then once you lap it, just cut off what hangs down. Or you could leave it. I just liked it better with all the focus coming in here and then the buttons. And then let me show you what I did to the back. Ah, I love this back. It's so cute. So normally when you have a knit, you know, it pulls in, but because it's a woven, I wanted it to be a little more form-fitting in the back. So I just put elastic, I just put it in between. I took the 2-inch wide elastic and just cut it in half, so I only put a 1-inch wide, and literally just pulled it and stitched it, and it gave me this little peplum effect. So this is the cutest vest going. It is darling. I love it. Asymmetric. Absolutely love it. So I think you can see it now. There you go. It's got a little elastic in the back and then a little to the front. If you were going to make it out of a woven fabric, now keep in mind this is like a brocade. It's not heavy, but it's definitely not something you'd want to tie. If you were doing it with a woven fabric that was lighter, you could tie it right in the front. But I think because it was heavier and I wanted to really push myself and do it out of different fabric, I love this asymmetric. I just really liked it. And then I'm going to tell you what I saw was shopping. I saw a wrap, and so it was asymmetric, and what it had 3 buttons. So that's kind of probably where I came up with the idea of having 3 buttons. Only the top button had a buttonhole. These 2 don't. They're just sewn on. So I did that. I only put 1 buttonhole and 1 button because it fits beautifully and it holds in place. I don't need all those buttons to be buttoned. And then these 2 here are just sewn on top. And I just love it. I mean, I just love this. This is by far my favorite. But anyway, and then I put it over Nikki's top, which is 215. The necklines look great together. 215 and the 2 necklines, again, they look really pretty. And that, I think, is a result of always using your French curve when you do your necklines, because they're going to parallel and really look pretty together. Did you use a larger size because it's a woven? I did not use a larger size. I did not. I used the exact same size. Because, again, normally, if you were putting sleeves in it, you would have to. And I did not do like a woven version with sleeves in it. But I almost did. And I'll show you as we get there what I was thinking. Okay, so that's my sleeveless. Then I did this one. And this is called Silk Craziness. This is the most beautiful fabric. I mean, it is just, I think I just said that on this one. But I'm going to tell you, we've just got some really beautiful fabrics in, and there's so much more coming. You know, when I came back from New York this year, I said to everybody in the office, I have never found such beautiful fabrics. And someone said to me, you've said that before. And I said, but no, this time really there's that beautiful fabric. So there's some really beautiful fabrics. We're putting them up. We've got more coming. They're really nice. So Silk Craziness is the name of this. I absolutely love this print. It is, because I had made this leather wrap, I showed you that, I think it was a Thursday YouTube. My goal was to make this as the cover up. And I've already worn this leather. I love this little leather top. And then this goes over it. The colors, there's so many colors in this silk that really there's so much you could do with it. I love the fact that it's silk. It's a beautiful lightweight stretch. It just works really well. I actually made no changes to the pattern at all. I did it exactly like I wanted to. If with the wrap underneath, if I wanted to wear it open, certainly could. If I wanted to hide the wrap and do the buttons to each side, I could do that as well. The 4 ways to wear this Cardi, let me just show you, are open like I have it, the one I have on, or open, and then tied how I had it, and then it goes around and goes back to the sides to button. You're just going to put a little button and a little buttonhole on each side, and it has that marked on the pattern. So this wraps around and then goes back to the other side. So it's kind of like a tie, but it's a flatter tie rather than having a knot in the middle of you. Or you can just go, again with your buttons, one to this side, one to this side, and it forms a really pretty little wrap. So those are the 4 different ways. And then, of course, the new way we came up with this asymmetric here. All right, so there we go. No changes to this one, exactly as it is. Maybe I came in a little late, but is there facing on the woven front? No. Just turned it, serged the edge, turned it under, stitched. It's beautiful. Now this fabric, I think, makes a big difference because, let me just kind of show you that fabric up close. You can see that side, both sides are really beautiful. That's actually the wrong side. That's the right side. You can't really see it. But anyway, it's just so pretty. So I really wasn't even worried if the wrong side showed. I would imagine that if you had a fabric that was really bad, it doesn't show. I mean, it fits really well. It doesn't even show. So I don't think I'd even worry about it. Okay. So then this one, I had seen a top, and it was a cardigan. It was like this, And this little shirt is built in. So I think this is really cool because there's so many things you can do with it. What I wanted it all the same because I wanted to use a little black, that's that velvet fold over trim. So I want to go through this because it's an easy idea, but it's a little tricky as you start to do it. So let me just make sure you understand. See that it's only the front of the sweater set. I used the sweater set front, and then I used the same cardigan pieces. So the front is got the cardigan, and then the sweater set t-shirt underneath, and then the back is just the regular 4-way cardi. All right, so what you do is you're going to use the sweater set, and you're going to use the 4-way cardi. And if you put the two together, what you notice is the cardigan shoulder seam is wider than the sweater set. And that's good. That's what you want. So I cut the sweater set on the fold. And the first thing I did was finish the neck edge. And I put on the black fold over elastic, the velvet fold over elastic. I put that on first because, you know, we were kind of talking about this last weekend. I was in Miami. We had the workshop down there. And so we talked a lot about fabrics, focal points. You know, whenever you have a print, you've got to create a focus. We looked at pictures, we looked at fabrics, we looked at different things, and it was really interesting to look at all the variations. But you notice that your eye goes to the focus. So when you're using prints, you've really got to ask yourself, where is my eye going and what is it doing? And it's important to plan all of this before you start. That doesn't mean you can't change it as you're going through the process, because that's kind of the fun of sewing. But you should at least be able to answer the questions. Okay, it's a print. Where's my focal point going to be? And, you know, what am I going to put it with? You know, kind of create the whole look. And that way, I think you'll be happier with the results once you've gone through the series of questions. Okay, so I did the darts on the front, the sweater set, and then I finished off the neck edge, and then I finished the hem. So with all intents and purposes, that front was kind of finished. I'd hemmed it, done the darts, and done the neck edge. All right, then what I did is I sewed the darts on the cardigan, and I put it together. The armholes are going to be identical. I put it together at the shoulder seam, and so the shoulder seams, and I concluded the back too. The back and both shoulder seams. Then I serged all the way around the front of the cardi, around the back, and back down the other side. Then I hemmed it. I actually went ahead and hemmed it and finished that up then. Then I put the sleeves in, and I hemmed those. And also, you want your cardi, the 4-way cardi, to be a little longer than the top. So I didn't cut my cardigan any longer. I cut my sweater set just an inch shorter. And the reason why is because once I hem it, I'm going to sew it in the side seam, and you can't hem both separately if they're sewn together. So you want one to be shorter than the other. So once I sewed the sleeve in, and then once I sewed the sleeve in the side seam, my 4-way cardi was longer than my top, which was perfect because my top was already hemmed. And so then I just hemmed the bottom of the cardi and hemmed the sleeves, and I was done. So the other thing, and the whole reason I wanted to do this is because I saw this a couple different times in the store where it was all one piece. Now you have to put it over your head, you obviously, you know, but you tie it like this. And these tied cardis are very popular. There's a lot of tied waist. There's a lot of knotted, twisted, all those other things. So in essence, if you just let your imagination keep going for a little while, you could put any top in here. You know, the whole concept of that I told you about, it's I'm trying to think of the designers, the two sisters, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Where, you know, I told you things could switch out. You could certainly do that with a top. It doesn't mean I would, I'm just saying you could. But like this fabric, this is the Wise Habit. we have a new maroon, or a deep wine that we put up just today, a little bit earlier. I put it up a couple hours ago. And it is the same color as this. So I thought it'd be really pretty to have just a solid wine color underneath. So basically what I'm saying is you guys could take a lot of different tops and put them under here. I just made it to give you an order of sequence as far as sewing it. You want to make sure that the top underneath here is narrower and a little bit shorter so that the cardi actually goes over it and looks like a cardigan. You don't want them really coming up at the same point here on the sides. And then as far as the tops you could do underneath, gosh, there's so many different ideas. Colors, play with colors, solids, prints, two prints together. There's just a myriad of fun ideas that you could really do with this. This is a great travel top. This is a viscose knit. It's just really, really pretty. And then you go from there. Okay? Alrighty. Any questions that I can answer on those? The back hem swings out on my 4-way cardigan. Any suggestions? Yes. If it does, I would, look at and see if your back is rounded. If the back is more rounded than the pattern, then what will happen is the bottom hem of the cardi will swing out, like what you're saying. Now, part of that is going to be normal, because if you look at the one I have on, there's more fullness in the front than there is in the back. And so the side seams are not going to be at the side of you. And you can see that my side seams are not at the side of me, but it doesn't swing out. It hangs straight. So the difference is if there's more in the back, that's okay. If the front goes to the back, that's not a big deal. But if it hangs out, that's probably because the back is rounded and there's not enough length in the back. So that's when you would want to do a horizontal dart, and at the shoulder blades add an inch and a half, and it's a dart. It ends at both armholes, and that will give the back length, more length at the center back, and it'll cause it to settle down. I've seen that in so many women in traveling in the airport, especially because we wear like a loose jacket, like the cardi is, but there's still fit to it. So that's a great point. I appreciate you bringing that up, because it really needs to still have the right armholes, shoulder angles, darts. All those things still need to be right so that it will hang well and not, look like bad. I don't know how else to say that. On the asymmetric vest, did you lengthen the side which hangs down lower? No, I didn't do any changes. The only thing I did was shorten the other side, which if I put this on, you can see that it's stuck out below, and I didn't like that. I just like the one asymmetric, so that's where I cut this off. If you make the vest, will 1 yard work for size 4? Yes. Pretty sure. All right, so actually the first one I made, and it was my favorite until I started making the others, was this. And I think it's because of the fabric, and it's just so incredibly beautiful, and I love some of the things I did with it, so I kind of want to show it off a little bit. It is black, and I know y'all just get mad at me when I use black, but this is going to be my go-to. I mean, I know that because when you have a black sweater like this, first off what I did is I added 10 inches. Okay, so I added 10 inches to the bottom because what I wanted was more like a little sweater jacket. I don't know. I put the sleeves in it because I wanted it to be warm. I actually went up a size on the sleeve so I could put a sleeve in a sleeve and not feel like it was too tight. And then at the bottom, what I did, and actually on the bottom of the sweater and at the bottom of the sleeve, I used the selvage. The selvage is really pretty on this fabric. This is this black cotton. It's a reversible black. No, it's a silk. I'm sorry. I mean, like I say, these fabrics are amazing. A silk knit. It's a Rebecca Taylor reversible black silk. It's fabric number 1425. They're also new. I knew I wouldn't remember them, so I made myself some cheat notes here. But anyway, So I lengthened the tie. This still has an asymmetric front to it. It still hangs lower. So what I did, let me just kind of show you what I did on the pattern work. This whole portion, I lengthened 10 inches. Then what I did is I actually took this part right here and put it at the bottom of the 10 inches and made one, so that it wouldn't, let me kind of show what I mean here. So that it wouldn't have like this big square, because if you just lower it, it's got a big kind of rectangle at the bottom, and I wanted it to be gradual all the way. So just take your pattern, and once you've added the 10 inches, put this at the bottom of the 10 inches, and then just make it match all the way up to the original part, so that the whole thing is like a curved neckline all the way to the bottom, rather than just a big chunk at the bottom. I wanted the whole thing to look like it was gradual, and if you can see, if I go from this point all the way up, the whole thing is just gradual, and I just love it. I love it on. I just really like it. It's a great piece just to put over a belt and just a pair of leggings, and simple but clean, and it's just perfect. It's perfect for this this leather top that I had. It was perfect for that, and that's actually what I wore it to first, and I actually made it because I was trying to wear the leather top, and I didn't really have anything that I really liked over it. I had a lot of vests, or I had a lot of sweaters, but they weren't long sleeve, they were sleeveless, and so this was just perfect for what I wanted. And the bottom does kind of curl a little bit, but I love the selvage on the edge. It's just really, really pretty. Very easy to do, very quick to do. The other thing I've seen in retail that I did on this one, it's a very narrow hem. And so it almost looks like it's a knitted hem. And I noticed it on a garment that was very fine, and it was really beautiful. So I serged the edge, but it's only like a 1/4 inch turned under. So even when you see the wrong side, it doesn't even look like it's the wrong side. It's that fine. It's really pretty. So I didn't do a 3/8. I just did a 1/4 inch just around here. That was all the hemming there was, because at the bottom I used the selvage, and at the sleeves I used the selvage. So you can see that when you use these selvages, it just works up really quickly. It was really fun. Beautiful piece. I mean, just a really beautiful piece. And to think this takes 2 yards, it's just incredible what something like this would cost. And it was made in an hour. Just very fast and wonderful. So I hope you like that one. Okay, so then we're going to answer questions for a minute. How did you finish the front off your PoM? How did you finish the front of your PoM? The one I have on, maybe? Because this one I hemmed, this one I hemmed, this one I hemmed. I hemmed all of them, just except for the one I have on. Could you use a woven fabric for the top with a knit on the Cardi? You're talking about this one. Could you use a woven fabric from the top? You probably could if you made it the right size. Like if you used your tank top, that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. I used knit on knit. That's a really good idea. I like that idea. To use a woven, like a tank top woven under here, because as long as you use the right side, it sews in at the side seams, it would fit. Yeah, that's a great idea. Good one. All right. See, I think there's so many times where what I love about doing these is there's so many great ideas out there. I don't ever claim to have them all. It's just really fun to exchange them back, because I'm going to copy you now. You can copy me and I'll copy you. When you go up a size in the sleeve for the black Cardi, did you also use the larger armhole size? You have to, yes, of course. So whenever you go up a size sleeve, the sleeve and the armhole go everywhere together. You talk about married, these two are married. They never leave each other's side. When you go big armhole, bigger sleeve, bigger armhole, bigger arm, yes, absolutely. And I'm sure you asked that question just to clarify. But yes, anytime you go the bigger armhole, bigger sleeve, you go bigger armhole goes with it. And you just draw it onto your whatever size body you're using. Because it's open, I don't think you really need a bigger size body, even if you're using a firm fabric, even if you're using a woven fabric, because it's open. But even with this, as I closed it, it's enough that it goes around. So I didn't go up in size at all. I only did in the sleeves so that I'd get kind of a little bit more freedom and a little bit so I could layer. Okay. Does the long top cross and button, or does it hang free? No, it crosses and it buttons. There's a buttonhole and a button right there at the top that holds it in place. And then these two are simply decorative. But you could do 3 little buttons. I just decided I didn't really need it. When I put it on, well, I did the first buttonhole and I did the first button for placement. And when I put it on, it stayed perfect. So I thought I don't need any more buttonholes. But I like the idea of the 3. I really like an odd number of buttons. So I did the 3 and I really like that. You know, you could do one great closure. Again, I just really like the leather. All design decisions. You know, we get to make all those fun design decisions ourselves. How much yardage for the black silk cardi with the extra 10 inches? You got to have 2 yards for the black cardi. Because the sleeve doesn't take up any more, but the front and the back both take up 10 more inches. So it takes 2 yards. Okay, so then I want to show you, there's a lot of this knit in particular. We put on the site. I love this. This is 1417, I think it is. Rebecca Taylor. I've gotten so many emails of people asking me, tell us the fabrics, tell us the fabrics. I never tell the fabrics. So I made notes. This is 100% cotton. This is a really beautiful. It's a little bit lighter on one side than another. I couldn't tell you that there's a right side and a wrong side because I like, they're both good, which is perfect for this kind of thing because you can make it so many different garments. But this is the one I chose to make because I love the selvage. So obviously a selvage, whenever it's on the edge of the fabric, is straight. And clearly my neck edge is not because it follows the French curve. Well, you know what? I put this on the edge, I put this on the edge, and I just cut it straight. I cut it right on the selvage. And then I just cut the rest of it. So I ignored the fact that they didn't align exactly because I knew in this situation it just wasn't going to make a difference. And I loved the selvage and I really wanted the selvage. I really wanted to finish this sweater with the selvage. So that's what I did. I just stuck it on the selvage. Bam, bam. Those 2 points were on the selvage. So you see I got a little bit more here, but you'd never know it. You just got a little bit more in a couple areas. So whenever you're sewing with a fabric like this that is loosely woven, just stabilize everything as quickly as you can. So what I mean by that is before I even sew the shoulder seams, because I had enough fabric, I used 2 yards for this. And so I had enough fabric for the selvage for the front, but not for the back neckline, that's too curved. So I actually I serged the back neck edge and hemmed it by folding it over and just top stitching it before I even stitched it to the front. So on the shoulder seam, I just pulled it a little bit because once you serge it and turn it, you're 3/8 inches shy, and I just made it work so that the shoulder seams lined up with the back already hemmed. So this whole front edge was already finished, the whole thing. So then I did the shoulder seams, I set in the sleeves, and at that point I did the French darts, I pressed it because you have to press the seams on the sleeve. And I pressed the French darts and then I just finished it up. Side seams, but stabilize everything first or as soon as you can without handling it too much. The fabric is stable, the fabric's not going to go anywhere. But sometimes we overhandle a garment, and I would just caution you to be careful of that. That's really all I want to say on that. It's very easy to do. This is a very simple sew pattern. Talk about a great gift for somebody or somebody who's just starting to sew and you want to snag them into sewing. Get them a pattern. Get them a pattern for you've been a good friend. And it's just easy, fun, and simple to fit, simple to do. When you use the selvage as trim, do you cut it and sew it on separately, or is it part of the whole sleeve piece? Well, in this case, how I did it is I just laid it out and ignored that the shapes were a little differently, because I did not want the look of cutting it and putting it on top. And I've done that many times. It's just not what I wanted with this. I wanted it to look like I kind of hand knitted this whole sweater. That's really the look that I wanted. And I could, because I was just going with the front here. On this particular one, I wanted the selvage at the bottom of the sleeve, and it worked because I was making a bigger sleeve. So the stretch of this fabric, this fabric doesn't have a lot of stretch, and that's another reason why I made a bigger sleeve, because it's not a real stretchy fabric. It's a firm stretch, if that's fair. Kind of like a poncho, like a yoga pant. And so I could put the pattern pieces right to where they ended on the fabric. So for that sleeve as well as the bottom of this is straight, and I could put it right on the selvage. I mean, I added the 10 inches and then had the selvage at the bottom of the front, at the bottom of the back, and then also at the bottom of the sleeve. So you can see all of this sewing is really easy. It's really fun. And my goodness, five new things in just no time. Like a whole week's wardrobe in no time. It was really using one pattern. And they all look so different to me. That was the goal, to really get all the miles we can out of a pattern, and then to take our fabrics, which are so beautiful, and really make the most out of them also. That was my goal. Okay, any tips for cutting out knits that are loosely woven? I've been struggling with a striped, loosely woven knit. The stripes never seem to be perpendicular to the selvage. Well, obviously, you guys have seen my cutting table. I have a big cutting table, and I can tell you that I've become a better sewer. I don't know if it's because I have a bigger table, sharper scissors, if it's because I've sewn so much. I don't know, to be honest. But I would really encourage you to get a surface where all of your fabric can be flat onto that surface. I think it makes a huge difference. If you're trying to cut off the edge, you don't think it's any different, but I think it is. So get your table surface flat, and get, a nice pair of Kais is really nice. And then these Sew Steady tables, I think they make all the difference in the world. Okay, I mean, I hate to say that I think they help, but I really do think they help. I'm not a real salesperson or a promoter of all these, but I do think that good tools and good equipment make a big difference. Okay, how are we doing? Are we good? All right. Well, you have all of my brain. You have it. We are really enjoying our pattern making class. I will say to the ladies who are in South Florida, I want to say hello, because I know they're watching. We had a terrific workshop. You guys know I love these workshops. I really look forward to them. I really look forward to seeing so much of your progress. We have all levels in them. We have very beginners. We have, who just want to get through a t-shirt. And we have those who are, making their 5th jacket. So it's really fun just to see and deal with all the different levels. And certainly what happens is they learn from each other. And I really appreciate the level of kindness that we have in these workshops. So unfortunately, all of our workshops for 2017 are full. They're sold out. But look forward to next year, 2018. We've got several on the books already. And so if you're kind of looking ahead and find one that's I always say look for them in a sunny, nice location. And usually that works, except we have hurricanes, we have fires, we have all kinds of horrible things going on. So I'm not even sure of any of that anymore. But anyway, so far we've been very fortunate. We haven't had to move or cancel or do anything like that. And we hope to keep our fingers crossed that that's what will happen continually. All right, so if we are good, I just thought of a couple things are sew along we did for Hurricane Irma, being down in Miami. And Miami wasn't as bad as some of the other places. What a mess. What a mess. I'm telling you, there's parts of the city I did not even recognize, simply because it's just a mess. And again, Miami was way better off than those Tampa and those other places which had a better hit. So October 15th, which is a week from today. No, it's Friday, it's Sunday. Anyway, this week will be the last week for Hurricane Irma. So if you can do a little $5 donation, it would be greatly appreciated, I know, by those people. And we will, you know, that money that we're donating is actually going to Puerto Rico as well. So Puerto Rico, bless its heart, is in really bad shape. But anyway, getting better all the time. I got an email from a customer who orders and lives in Puerto Rico, and you know, day by day, they're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and so we're really thinking of you. Sewing is a wonderful activity. It relieves stress. It's so many things it does. If you're within the sound and you've not decided to sew, gosh, sew. Just pick up a piece of fabric and do something fun and simple. And know that at the end of it, you'll just be a happier person, hopefully. Okay. All right, so we will say goodbye for now. We will see you in 2 weeks. And this is a holiday. So for those of you who didn't have to work today, hopefully you got a chance to relax, sew a few stitches. And, you know, we were talking about in Miami, one thing I'll share, we were talking about how many stitches we should stitch per day. Like, you know, they say an apple a day will keep you healthy, or you're supposed to eat 2 carrots. So we thought, okay, how many stitches should we stitch per day? And we decided it probably shouldn't be in terms of stitches. It could be in seams. It could be in terms of seams. So I decided that if we could all do 5 seams a day. So I've been thinking about this. So let me just equivalent 5 seams, what that is. A shoulder seam, 2 shoulder seams, 2 sleeves, and 1 dart. So you almost get a whole entire garment made sometimes with 5 seams. So just food for thought. 5 seams a day. Could you somehow eke that into your schedule? And hopefully at the end of that day, you'll say, wow, I did it. 5 seams, I got it done. All right? So from Silhouette Patterns, all over the world, happy sewing. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.